Hello and welcome everyone. And today I'm super excited to talk about developing Copilot Studio agents using VS Code. Past few years, we've been developing agents in Copilot Studio and it works, it's great, but it's hard to scale. If you build multiple agents, as you can see, that gets very mundane. So that's why we are going to use VS Code and we are going to use Copilot skills to push change to Copilot Studio. So I'm joined by my dear friend and fellow Microsoft MVP, Nilüfer Doğan. Nilüfer is here. Go ahead, Nilüfer.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Rafsan, for inviting me. And yes, as you told, today we will see how we can create an agent by using VS Code and also Copilot Studio. I think it's also a generic case because HR agent is kind of thing we are seeing at the beginning of the AI journey and also agent creation. Most of the people create HR agents until now probably, but this will be a bit different actually. Because today we will use all of the capabilities of VS Code and with its agent mode, we will just write the code and write the prompt and it will write code for us. Let's first see what we will see today. What's the pain point and what's the purpose of this? Actually, in this HR agent creation, we are creating this programmatically. We are just using a couple of things in the Copilot Studio and creating them manually. But beside that, all of the things are done in the VS Code. So when we see the architectural part, I will mention it before. I will mention about these more detailedly in a second, but now let's just talk the basic things and then deep dive into what kind of things we call in this agent. We have actually one main agent. This is the orchestrator agent, and we can call it like an HR agent because I'm calling it in the Copilot Studio in that way. And under this, we have HR knowledge agent, and I created the example files, which includes the employee handbook and also information about an example dummy company. Actually, I called it as a Nexus Dynamics, but the whole information is created by AI. And for example, for my knowledge agent, I created those files. Let me just show you. For example, Nexus employee onboarding guide. This is all created by AI and it includes the dummy data, but when we are testing it, I want to just get the information like it's a real, so I put my prompt in that way and created that kind of documentations. For example, what we have here, let's see it together. We have the leave policy documents, onboarding guide, and also remote work, frequently asked questions, and also payroll and compensation guide about this dummy company. And later on, I use those information to make RAG in the background. And for that purpose, I use Azure AI Search. And since you already noticed that we only have the 4 documents, but the purpose of creating this agent is just create the image for you to understand. For more complex scenarios, we can use VS Code. And for example, if we have lots of documentations, we can use Azure AI Search for that purpose. And this is kind of the initial point, and you can imagine further by just starting this video actually. And for the leave agents, we are using Dataverse in the background. In the Dataverse, I created also the table, and this table also created by the in the VS Code side. And here it also includes the dummy data, and it includes some information that is needed when we are requesting leave for the relevant person in the company. And at the end, we are turning answer to the user by using all those services. But let's just deep dive in a second and talk about what we have in our VS Code part. First of all, my purpose was just doing a couple of applying some functionalities and showing some features So I created agent-to-agent system in the background. So I have one orchestrator, and this orchestrator decides where it will go. For example, I ask a question about the HR knowledge, it navigates me to HR knowledge. And other way, if I ask for leave, it just create the leave request for me, or I may just get the history of my leave request, and that kind of actions can be taken. And beside that, of course, we also mentioned about this in the above. We have RAG in the background. So for that purpose, we use the documents, Azure AI Search. And for now, we are using PDF Word, but later on, we may test Excel file and also more data, which is like Excel-like data. And for leave management, we also already mentioned about this. And also, I was planning to create an client app, so it's just talk with the HTTP request in the background. And for that purpose, I use the Python and Python 3.11, and also use my Azure subscription part for OpenAI, AI Search, blob storage. And in the background also, I called the Dataverse environment, and also I created app service. We will also talk about this, and I think it will be clear later on. When we just see the project structure, also the project structure is here and where I started in the VS Code. In the VS Code, I write what I want. Exactly, we already talk about these features, and I write my requests in a natural language here. I want programmatically developing HR agent here, and also I need these features. And later on, it shows me whole steps and also the document files, actually. It creates, first of all, the workspace to creating all those files, and later on, creating each of them based on what I want. For example, let's see in the left pane, we are seeing our files here. And when we come here, we see the sources. Under these sources, we are seeing our base agents and also the other agent we are calling. And for API, we have some API call we are making, and all those are stored here. And let's see the structure here. It's better in terms of the visualizations. Under source, you have question?
Yes. Even APIs created by basically GitHub Copilot. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. All things are created by it.
That's amazing. I was at the Microsoft event a few years ago, and I saw like a big announcement saying that best programming language is natural language, and I think we are seeing it right now.
Yeah, exactly. It all do all these API things, and not only the agents, tools, indexer API, but it's also do deployment for GitHub. And I just push all those files I'm using in the GitHub, and it all includes what we did here. So that's really great, actually.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And for the maybe future videos, we may also plan to show some things about how we can make it Dockerize. And for example, we created a generic agent, how we can implement it into different environments and more than one customer. So for that kind of purpose, it's also open to anything, actually. That's just the start, and we can add lots of things here. We can tailor lots of things here. And for test purpose, it's also created test documents, and the documents part is all includes the file I showed you, which I created as a dummy data. Let me see. Yeah, in the docs part, they are just located. We can see their details. And data sample, it also includes some sample data. And that's it, actually. Basically, those parts are the main part for our VS Code. And I am just changing something when I need to update the agent. But in later, maybe you want more than 2 agents, and you may add your agents and this agent's documents under these agents documents. And yeah, the structure is like that. And let's see overall how it looks in architectural part, how architecture looks. And when we see this part, in the background, first of all, we are just interacting with the Copilot Studio. We are just calling HR agent, and this HR agent is the orchestrator agent, is the main agent we are talking. And when we ask a question, it first of all detects in the background with the default orchestration in Copilot Studio. It understands what where my question stands and in which agent will this be solved. So in basic, we have 4 tools here. First of all, chat with HR agent. Second, get leave balance, and third, create leave request, and the last one, get leave history. And also we will see in the part of the Copilot Studio, we all just get these, and I will show how we can get these later on. And in the background, we are just touching only one place, the one app service, and also one fast API, and we are just going directly there. And after that, it just go depending on our question. If it's about the HR knowledge, it just go directly to the index documentation. For example, suppose that more than 4 documents here. It would be really great, actually, just writing a code and it gets whole documents from your local and upload it to the blob storage. We are using blob storage as a data source, by the way, for these documents. And then later on, by using the embedding models, which is provided by the Azure OpenAI, it can be either the OpenAI models or the other models you choose depending on your case. And later on, by using our data source and also the embedded models, we are making indexation. And when we ask a question, it just go to the direct part. We ask the question. For example, when we ask a question, it does not scan the whole 30. For example, suppose that you have 30 pages in one document. It does not scan the whole 30 pages. It just goes to the relevant chunk and the relevant index based on what you told it.
Yeah. Nilüfer, I have a question, actually. The agents that I develop, 99% of the time I use Azure AI Search. And for our audience, I would like to ask this question, if you can answer. Why we are using Azure AI Search? Why we don't use, different knowledge sources in Copilot Studio, right? Because we can upload PDF files into Copilot Studio knowledge base. So what's the benefit of using Azure AI Search and how it is different than knowledge in Copilot Studio?
Actually, it has 2 main benefits. One is the quality, other one is just not the quality, but also the speed of the answer you are getting. These 2 are the main. When you just upload those documents directly in the Copilot Studio, it of course has indexation in the background. It's a default indexation mechanism Copilot Studio is using. It also works well, by the way, compared to the previous version of the Copilot Studio. But when we do this with the Azure AI Search, its indexation is very clear, and it just making lots of chunks from what is provided. Actually, you provided 17 documents, and each has 30 pages, and multiply with this, and it means that number of documents and that number of pages, and it just goes to the relevant part, relevant chunk, because it just separates the knowledge into the parts, in the separate parts. And when you ask a question, for example, you said dog and cat, and it understands, okay, this is animal, and I have to go to animal chunk. It's not exactly like that, but to understand it better, I give that example. And it goes to the animal chunks, and instead of scanning the whole page, it just go to relevant parts. So in that way, it both provides the better answer and also in a quickly. it creates the vector. We call these numbers also as a vector, so it gives a better answer in that way. Yeah. Later on, we just talk about how we are getting now information from HR knowledge agents and how it works in the background. That's how we talk about this HR knowledge agent. But beside this agent, we have second agent, which is leave agent, and it just does a couple of things. These in the left hand side, we are seeing get leave balance and request and history. All these belongs to actually this agent, but when we ask a question, it orchestrates in the background by itself and use the routing mechanism we created, and in that way navigate us to the right place and also do the take the right action and patch our information to the Dataverse. Or if we are need to retrieve information from Dataverse, it also retrieve those information directly from there. So you can imagine this schema, especially for the orchestrator part, I think is different compared to doing this manually in the Copilot Studio. I mean, you can of course create an HR agent in Copilot Studio, but in the background you see this has lots of capabilities to do here. You can, for example, add more than one agent system here and create your own routing mechanism. So for more customization, actually, it works well. And let's just go back to Copilot Studio and show what we did here, because also, yes, of course, we created agents here and also the API things here. But later on, another important part is creating the combining both Copilot Studio and also what we have created in the VS Code. I may start from, by the way, in the VS Code, because all stories started from the VS Code, but later on I just combined those two knowledge. First of all, it created the base agents. It created the whole files, of course. Whole files are created, and the coding part are just patched as I write a natural language prompt here. Actually, I write a prompt, and it's just updated base agents, HR knowledge agent, leave agent, all things. Let's see the base agent first. First of all, it created our base agent file, but beside that, we have HR knowledge agent part, and it includes the whole information. Like it's first of all find the relevant documents in Azure AI Search, build the context, and then turn the response by using the LLM we provided to it. And for the leave agent, it created the by using the tools in the background. It created, for example, what kind of column we need. I just explain it to, for example, said that you have to write the leave request name, start date, end hour, and all these details is written by natural language in the chat, and later on it just created this code by itself. And for example, here let's see the leave type, it's string, and it should be annual, personal, and sick leave. And also for start date, you should define it in the date format. It's all just written in here. I didn't go to the table part of the Power Apps and create this table. It just created here also. And for Orchestrator, we also put some information here. I just write what kind of orchestrator I need. I said that I will have two sub agents, and first of all, HR knowledge, leave agent, and what actions I want to take with those agents. I define also this. And after this prompt, it creates its own system prompt to just write this code. And later on, with this system prompt, it also writes the tool for routing. And for this routing part, it decides which agent it should go when we ask a question. and it write a description and put the parameters, and here you see our first agent and second agent, and later on after orchestration works, all things are defined like Azure endpoint, Azure API key, and API version. All those are defined, and for that purpose I just go directly to the, by the way, I didn't create the resource group or all other products and the services by myself. I just write what I need, and for example it asks me for HR agent where you want to index your documents. I said that I want to store it into blob storage, and also I want to use Azure AI Search for indexation. Later on, by giving my tenant ID and also the information it asks to me, also it states where you should go. It just navigate you. For example, go to settings, just click here, then later on you will find your tenant ID. So it's very brief and it's really easy to find the relevant information.
Yeah, and also it's not automatic. Every time it tries to create something, it asks your permission, and once you approve, then it goes ahead and creates that. So that's another benefit here. It's not automatic. Yes, there are ways you can make it automatic, like you don't have to ask permission, just go do it. But most of the time it will basically, if it is first time, it will ask you permissions, but you can change the setting, make it automatic. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. And also at the beginning, I make a mistake and I created in the wrong resource group. So I told it this is the wrong resource group, just create a new resource group, and it created it later. And also if it makes some wrong mistakes, and you can tell directly, can you please delete the files you created until now or after this prompt, and in that way it delete the relevant file, and only the file which you need is staying. So this is also nice. And as you see here, for example, I told that let's make all of them step by step. Later on it created, for example, environment variable and Azure and development in the Azure, and later on, for example, it just asked me the credential as I told, and I found the credential and put it there. And for those old things, for example, storage account is created, search service created, but these are created based on my prompt. For example, we created the search service, and also we deployed OpenAI model for embedding part, and later on for creating apps, for creating orchestrator agent, it also realized that okay, we need app service, so we should create this, and later on it created the app service. And by the way, for putting the whole documents here and also creating containers, it all does everything else by itself. I just tell not here, by the way, but in the another resource group. Yeah, that's also nice, because for example, what I did, I will show in a minute. I just open it, just pop up upload your file here, and I just upload the whole file from my local, and it just upload them to this
blob storage.
Yeah, blob storage. Let's see.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes, all these are just stored here. So that's very nice. And later on, a couple of important things are here also. In the main py file, we are creating also in API, under API folder, we are creating the fast API here. This is just implies this part, the Azure App Service and fast API part. And for that purpose, it create this file, and under this file, all details are listed, and it just shaped as I write the prompt again. And for models also, I select the model by myself. For example, it just provides you what kind of which embedding model and also which OpenAI model are enabled. And also it tells you, for example, for my case, let's go back to our resource group. it just tell me, for example, I'm in the Sweden Central and I try to select another model which is not applicable in this location. It told me I cannot apply this, I cannot use this model here, you should just switch to another location. So for that kind of check, it also makes it by itself. So that's also nice, I think, because you don't have to just click the whole model and try to compare them. Also, for app service part, I also had chance to understand which app service should we create there, and also what kind of actions should I take. It also compares these things for you. For example, you should create this because of that. It also tell all the information directly, so that's also nice. Of course, you can check these kind of things in the documentations and official sources, but it takes time. So while creating this, also you are learning something actually, so that's also nice. And index documentation is also here. And for tools, I may say for Dataverse part, actually, Dataverse part is for leave request, and it creates the table. As you see, my table naming is here, and also real column names here. For example, the approval status and also the other values, it's also defined here. I don't want to deep dive here because it has lots of details. For that part, I just want to those. And let's go back to our Copilot Studio part. In Copilot Studio, actually, I, of course, did a couple of manual things I said at the beginning, but just this. Actually, I came to Copilot Studio, create the HR agent, and later on, write instructions and add tools. That's it, actually. After that, it works very well. First of all, let's see what I write in the instructions. Let's just be aware that this is autonomous agent here. I am not using topics or knowledge part. I'm just writing my instructions and adding the relevant tools here, and that's it. It decides where it goes. And also after that, as we discussed already, we are coming to Copilot Studio, and it decides in which agent will be navigated to the user, and then turn to the answer. Here I write my rules. I first of all say that always use the available tools, never answer from your own knowledge. And also for rules, all HR policy questions, I also give some examples here, like leave policy, remote work, onboarding, payroll, and benefits. All those are including my files, by the way, based on my file subject. And it calls this tool, this is chat with HR agents, which is here actually this one. And for other tools, this is relevant with the leave request. If user asks about how many days do I have, it will use this one by just checking with the user email. By the way, we can put the same dynamic value here. I think I just missed this, but for example, here I put check by using the user email here. So we can exactly put it here as a user email part. And for other one, for creating a leave request, they will ask, I want to take a leave, then this will be called. And for leave history, exactly mechanism is same, and it will be just check with the user email dynamically. And when we came to the tools parts, I just call my FAST API. What I mean, we created this service in the background. And when we came to the right environment, because we give our environment value and also our agent's ID and environment ID, in that way, it's just create connection in the background. Okay, I will just deploy those services in this environment and for these agents. So in that way, it became very easy to just see it directly here. For example, when I say HR agent, okay, You see, I see the whole services I created: chat with HR agent, create leave request, get leave balance, and get leave history. Also, I see the health check, but health check is for just checking my service quality, so I'm not using it for now. But for other services, let's just go and see what kind of input we have. For example, when we are chatting, we just put the message part here, and so we are using message. And for create leave request, I need a couple of information directly here, because we created all those required fields in the coding part. So I'm putting those input as a compulsory part, and I'm just dynamically filling this because it really understands very well what is user email, what is leave type, and that's nice. And for get leave history, again, I just use the user email, and by just checking here what is the user email, employee email here, it will just list the whole things. I will show you a couple of things to understand the idea and how it works. First of all, I will ask about what is the remote work policy. For remote work policy, let's see our files first of all. We have remote work frequently asked question sheets here, and let's see what we have there. For example, it states that a couple of things. First of all, who is eligible, and also do I need get permission? Once your initial work mode is agreed, you can ask your manager. And let's just check the numbers because it's easy way to see. We allow 30 days work from anywhere. Okay, core hours 10 a.m., 3 p.m. Let's see whether those included here. Yes, eligibility, work mode, and also work from anywhere. It says up to 30 days per year. That's correct. And core hours is correct. And okay, all things are included here. And let's ask a couple of questions. For example, how many annual leave do employees get? This is another question. By the way, in the left pane, we see how it's rational in the background, how it understands. It understands correctly. It should ask this to the HR agent, because we are asking about employee handbook, employee about for example, annual leave number. So it gets the inputs correctly, and outputs will be the HR knowledge agent. You see, it go directly to this agent. And answer includes also the leave policy documents, but while it's turning the answer, it gives it more brief way. So it says 25 days of annual leave. Let's see whether this is correct. Okay, annual leave, your primary time off for us. Okay, it says 25 days. Yeah, that's correct. This was just for checking this HR agent, but I want to also check a couple of things. For example, I want to request annual leave from April 20 to 22. Let's ask this. For now, I am just expecting to go create leave request. It will get my details as we talked. Yes. Dates, where it will start, duration, status, pending approval, because we start this. For example, for feature and other things like automation, approval flow could be just integrated here. It creates whole things here. Let's see how it created in the Dataverse table.
Oh, that's amazing. So you are basically now implementing CRUD operation. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. And for the part, I may ask another things. For example, this described annual leave. I will ask for sick leave, for example. Please submit a sick leave for April 25, and it will also do this. Okay, it gets the date correctly. Also, it creates the ID, for example. If we face the problem, we may ask directly to the admin, I created a leave request in that ID, and can you please check whether it is approved? We may ask that kind of questions later on. So for that kind of purpose, it also includes the unique identifier for us. And for
Nice.
sick leave, we are seeing here, and let's see whether, yeah, it's just described in that way. It's also it also do this description by using the LLM in the background and decides to just write this description by itself. Yeah, actually, that's all from my side. I want to both show you the tools for HR agent part and also leave request part. For leave balance and leave history, since I'm not just keeping the history and using this in production, I don't have lots of history and balance for now, but or the data for balance, for example. But later on, we can do this together as I use this app more, and we can test these two. But the logic is exactly the same. It works like leave request. So if it's clear, I think that will be really enough. And yeah, do you have any question, Rafsan, or any addition?
No, I think that's amazing. My question to you, like myself, I've started using hybrid approach. So that hybrid approach, basically, I Copilot Studio, then I come to VS Code and clone the agent and do as much as possible. Then I go back to Copilot Studio, then start adding tools. I think it's just a matter of time. In the future, we will see that capability where we can, use certain tools, even adding work IQ tools, adding, let's say, Outlook connectors, etc. What inspired you to, building agents in VS Code?
The most exciting part is actually the playground. Actually, it seems for me we can add anything else here. We can either add user interface by just writing TypeScript and React code together here. So beside those, we can add any tool which is applicable inside also Copilot Studio, because for now, as you see, we just use the Azure and also Dataverse, and those are under M365 environment, under Microsoft environment, actually, not M365, but under Microsoft environment. So beside those, we can just integrate the external third-party connectors here. So that kind of things are just very exciting, I think, because without VS Code, if we don't have connectors here or as a tool here, it will be really hard. But while using VS Code, I just realized that we can add those things here, and also without knowing lots of things here, because for me, even I don't know React, I can write React code here directly and also check whether it works well or not. So vibe coding here is very nice and works very well. So those kind of things excites me, actually.
So this was our initial video. In the future, we plan to make more videos around using VS Code to develop not only Copilot Studio agents, but Foundry agents as well. Please, if you have any questions, leave that in the comments. We will get back to you. And if you like this video, if you think this is helpful, please subscribe to my channel and give the thumbs up. And if you want to connect to Nilüfer, I'll share her LinkedIn profile in the video description. Feel free to connect. She puts a lot of content around Copilot Studio on LinkedIn. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.